I was 19 at the time, and I was preparing to go for a semester abroad in Australia. I knew I was going to be spending a lot of time in the sun. Before I went, my mom said, "Why don't you get a skin check?" She actually had noticed what I call a funky looking freckle on my right forearm. So I went and got it removed. Turned out that it was benign. Right after I had graduated, I noticed a kind of a regrowth from the scar tissue from a year and a half prior. I got that one checked out, and that's when I found out that I officially was diagnosed with melanoma. It turns out that they pulled the slides from the year and a half prior excision, and that was melanoma as well. That put me in kind of an especially bad situation because I lost a year and a half of treatment time. When I heard I had melanoma, I remember being a bit shocked. I didn't think that it happened to people so young. So the first thing that they immediately do is take out as much as they can around where it was actually found. They went in there and took out basically a sampling of lymph nodes to see if any had spread there, and it turns out that there were a few melanoma cells found in there. So after that happened, I had to do another surgery. They did what's called a radical node biopsy. So they took out all the lymph nodes in my right armpit. After that, all the melanoma from the doctor's perspective, was out from a surgical perspective. But they didn't know if there were other cells that were kind of hiding somewhere else. I was proposed with a type of treatment called interferon. This treatment's going to be pretty intense, but if you can get through it, it can't hurt you in the long run. So I ended up going for doing this treatment, the interferon treatment, and it was a year program. It was really intense. I didn't have any energy. I was 21 at the time. I wasn't allowed to have any alcohol, which is kind of tough, when you're 21. I just passed the 5-year mark, so now I've gone back to getting checkups every year. Looking back on the process, I had surgeries, I did a year-long interferon treatment. It was a very scary process. There's not many days that, I don't think about melanoma. The biggest takeaway after all that being considered, if I didn't get my, freckle removed, I could be in a much worse situation. I became involved with the Melanoma Foundation of New England, primarily through the Billy's Buddies program. Billy's Buddies is kind of a one-on-one patient advocacy group, and the whole idea is you pair someone who's been through the whole melanoma process with someone who's going through it. I remember that being important for me. I had an older gentleman in town who I used to talk to who had been through melanoma. My parents were very supportive about my whole situation, but I couldn't help but think how many people didn't have that, support group. Most rewarding part for me is being able to help other people who are going through it, kind of shine some light, say, hey, I'm 5 years out now and I'm doing great, and my life is going on as it should, and hopefully you'll be there soon, and kind of help talk them through it.